Welcome, Knodies. We are thrilled to have you join us today for another of our Knod Career Chats. These chats are a great opportunity for you to get to know different employers and industries around the world. As you listen to the chat, if you have a question you would like to ask, you may enter it in the chat window in the bottom left of your screen. We will have time to answer your questions at the end of the presentation. For today's career chat, we are pleased to welcome Ray Ingram, who is the marketing director at Fasken Martineau. Fasken Martineau is an international law firm and the most diverse law firm in the United Kingdom. Ray, we welcome you to our career chat today. Could you please share with us a little about your background?
Hi, Knod. My career started in advertising about 20 years ago. I've worked for some very large advertising agencies, predominantly serving international brands or international advertisers. I started my work here with Fasken Martineau about 7 or 8 years ago.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Fasken Martineau. What is it, and what is the industry that you're in?
Okay, Fasken Martineau is a law firm. It's an international law firm of Canadian provenance. It's interesting by way of the fact that there are 9 offices worldwide. 6 of those are in Canada. We have an office here in the UK, in London. We're in Paris, France, and also in Johannesburg in South Africa. From this base, we serve clients all around the world. 1 year, by way of statistics, we serviced either clients or progressed deals and projects in all continents of the world except the South Pole.
Tell a little bit more about the industry itself in general.
But effectively, the industry is broken down into 2 specific modes. We are a commercial law firm, so we act on behalf of those business owners or business managers that require the benefit of legal advice, either to avoid a threat or take advantage of an opportunity. The rest of the industry is biased towards the use of the law in private circumstances. That may well be estate planning and wills, it could be divorce, simple conveyancing for house purchases and things of that sort. Our clients tend to be either entrepreneurs, businesses, governments and their agencies, or non-for-profit organizations.
Yeah.
Here's a spread of the clients we have. So some of these will be organizations that you're familiar with, like PwC, the top 4 international accountancy firm. We have BHP Bulletin, which is one of the largest mining firms in the world. CGI are involved in IT. CGI are probably one of the major back office providers of IT in the world, along with organizations that you'd recognize like Glencore, which is an interesting combination of both a mining firm and also one of the largest commodity traders.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about your role. You're the director of marketing. What does that entail in your business and industry?
Okay. Statistically, when it comes to legal marketing, and specifically within the sectors we're in, where a lot of work is either transaction-led or relationship-led. 60 to 70% of the marketing is about building, maintaining, and promoting reputation. Particularly when it comes to very sophisticated deals, people step forward on the basis of the fact that they have a very strong relationship with an individual in a firm, as opposed to the firm is an institution that has a reputation for doing something where the buyer can feel comfortable without necessarily knowing anybody inside that organization. My job is specific to creating an environment where the lawyers can do their best work. And by that, what I mean is that it's my job to create personas and reputations for our lawyers, with the firm as a backdrop in terms of the organization that will actually providing the capability, which provides for the lawyer to focus on the client opportunity or problem, as opposed to justifying why they should be selected for providing any formal advice for the client. So many of the aspects or the criterion for selection that a buyer would go through can be managed via social media, can be managed via the firm's website, but then also integrating that with the websites of others. So for instance, within the social media space, not only does a firm have a Twitter account, we also use tools like LinkedIn. And the catalyst for using LinkedIn is the fact that we can have third parties eulogize about the capability of particular lawyers within the firm, or the reputation of the firm overall.
Yeah. And
on top of that, we run live events. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, today's world, the social media seems to be the biggest way to not only market for sales, but also to build reputation and everything else. So,
Yeah.
But Ray, if you could just a couple of more things. One, talk a little bit about the skills that are important for someone that would be interested in marketing in this industry or other industries. What as a marketing professional, what do you think are important for students that are interested in getting into marketing?
Okay. I've got a slide later on in the presentation that talks about this. I think for all marketers, respective of their level of seniority, the most fundamental capability that you need to develop as you go through your studies and into your career is a keen focus on, one, the organization, the service or the product's target, and two, a better understanding of their motivation. When it comes to marketing, it becomes a much richer space insofar as there is a much more sort of holistic approach to driving efforts that either influence the target or help us better either understand or drive motivations. So the key skills, I believe, are strategy, and that is understanding your business, understanding the market, understanding both the offline and the digital world, understanding the role of content and the technologies that are available to you. And if there were one thing I'd put as a priority, it would be to better understand people. Beyond that, I'd go for critical thinking. And I think that within one of the main reasons I became a marketeer was I'm particularly interested in how things work. And I'm particularly interested in art, but my writing skills are okay, but I'd never be able to become a award-winning author. I think my kids probably draw better than I do. I can't draw anything. But because I'm a marketeer, I find that I'm happy insofar as I live in a space which is a happy confluence between art and commerce. It's a very creative space, and I think critical thinking is perhaps one of the key skills you need to be a good marketeer. Effectively, you need to better understand or appreciate a problem to come up with imaginative and creative solutions to situations. There's a heavy process component to marketing. The ability to plan a project, anticipate the consequences of the key stages of that project, and ensure that you have the right solution or countermeasure in place to optimize whatever is the effect to drive out the right outcome, I think is critical. I think going forward, particularly with the importance of the online space, project management is an even more important tool because we need to stay on top of the process of influencing targets and driving their motivations, and our speed of response needs to be much faster than maybe they were 10 or 20 years ago. If you have a brand out there that has been seen to fail to service the needs of customers in a proper manner, 20 years ago, that would be perhaps a problem between the individual and the brand. These days, it is a matter between the brand and all people that may well be interested in that product and service, whether or not they're customers or not. For that reason, project management is key, because we need to be able to keep a fine focus on the performance of the business and the quality of the service it provides customers, and respond quickly when sometimes either it doesn't go as well as we'd like, or if it goes outstandingly well, to best exploit those opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Thereon, I mentioned earlier that the key thing is to stay well focused on your target and their motive, particularly now with the accessibility of data. I think that analytical skills are a prime skill, one to develop, but two also to ensure that you're always close to by way of focus. This is much more than just picking out trends or patterns with regards behavior. This is about being able to anticipate the consequence of the trends and patterns that you see today, and anticipating quite how those behaviors may change by way of your actions for tomorrow. It needs a lot of attention, and it's a very dynamic space. It allows you to be pretty creative as it feeds you critical thinking, and it feeds the process that you put into your marketing plans. On from there, I think that being a marketeer by way of a skill, often people focus on the tactics, and there are a lot of tactics. I apologize for the sounds going on around us.
Okay.
There are a lot of tactics to driving campaigns or to drive particular events. I think each of these have to be executed to the highest quality and standard that can be afforded within the resources that you have. But primarily, as a marketeer, you should be considering each of these as a component of a much larger ecosystem. A holistic approach, I believe, is a key skill. The ability to understand how various parts of your marketing strategy fit together and should be working cohesively. If you understand that, you can manage them and you can bring people in, and as a marketer, you can step back and analyze what's going on to develop more campaigns and more drivers to allow you to achieve your aims and goals. At the end of the day, having all of this doesn't matter unless you can actually do a lot of it yourself. So strong technical skills should not be overlooked. Key thing is to be familiar with who your consumers are, what they want, and how best you can deliver whatever that is.
I think it's interesting as we have been working with Knōd and working with companies, and one of the things that we teach our Knōdies is how exactly what you're talking about, that the important skills are critical thinking, project management, analytical skills, and as we talk with companies, usually the bottom thing on the list is technical skills, and yet in school, when people typically in the traditional world going to school, they focus more on the technical skills than these other things. So this fits in perfectly with what we're trying to do to help change the world of education. Okay, Thank you. My last question was really about, and you've touched on it already mostly, but what advice do you have for someone wanting to get into this industry? And we've been talking a little bit about that. Is there any other advice you'd want to give somebody who would like to get into this industry?
I think the prime thing is understand why you want to get in and what it is you believe it's about. And at the point of application or interview, in very clear terms, put that message across. I think
Yeah.
in those few occasions where you actually get a chance to meet someone face to face by way of interview, and interview is not necessarily tied down to being invited to attend the office of the company that you have in focus. You sometimes find yourself interviewing in the most innocuous situations where you may well just have a casual conversation with someone who later transpires able either to influence where you go or is a member of the organization you want to join. So it pays to be alert. But in those circumstances where you're being interviewed, keep your message simple, be yourself, and trust your instincts. Your instincts will tell you whether or not the organization you're intending to join is the right thing for you by way of fit.
That's great
Part of
advice. Yeah.
part of doing this, do your research. The ability to better understand an organization, either by way of being a potential customer or a potential employee, has never been easier. You can better anticipate the fortunes of an organization by not only reading what they say about themselves, but by reading what others say about them. So researching through what the press out and or competitors say about a firm is almost as valuable, if not more valuable, than what the firm says about itself.
Yeah.
And when armed with these, when armed with these, allowing yourself the opportunity to promote the fact that you're able to see beyond the most obvious things and avoid asking questions where the answers are readily available.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very
And
good.
don't be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as you'll progress through your career, you'll find that all of these things are a negotiation. If they've taken the time to interview you, at that moment you're as valuable to them as they may well be to you. So negotiate, ask questions, and assess the firm to make sure that they are the right choice for you.
Okay.
It's a two-way street.
Thank you very much. We just have a minute or so left. Let me look at the question. We have a couple questions from some of our participants. You've dealt with some of this already. Marquetta asks, is it possible to succeed in marketing without studying at the university? And I think, I'll just let you answer that. It's important to get a education.
I think it's important to get an education. I have a business degree. Uh,
Uh-huh.
Marketing was a subset of that, and I became a member of the Chartered Institute of Marketing whilst still a student. My very first job was actually in industry. I spent a year working on the client side of business before joining an ad agency. I think the university education is valuable for providing you with the fundamentals and best allowing you to articulate the ideas you may well form. My opinion is that for the most part, marketing is common sense. And so therefore I wouldn't make a success in marketing contingent upon having a degree.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is allow you to better navigate the industry. There are many of people that you'd have traveled past this morning on your journey from home to wherever you are right now that are brilliant marketeers and may never have ever finished their formal education.
Yeah.
However, they're unlikely to run global institutions. And that's the difference that the university education provides. They could start their own
Yeah.
thing, but it's not necessarily going to be the fact that someone else gives them a job to run their business for them.
I think that's the key to know is providing that as well as the hands-on and practical side and combining those two together, where in the traditional world, you almost either have one or the other, or you get the university and then you go to the job and spend time getting the other. And we've been trying with Knod to combine those two together so when someone comes out of the Knod program, they have both. And that's a good place to end. I think we appreciate your time. We don't have time for any more questions, but it looks like the other questions have been pretty much talking or we've talked about. So we thank you, Ray. We thank the participants for joining. Noties, stay tuned. We've got other great businesses scheduled for career chats. And if you want to find out more about Knod, visit our website at knod.net and check out the study page, study at Knod page. Until next time, we hope everyone has a wonderful day and thank you very much. Thank you again, Ray.
Thank you.